Look at any modern office. Half the humans inside are sitting in a useless meeting. The other half are waiting for orders. We pride ourselves on organization, yet to build a simple public restroom, humanity requires 3 blueprints and a shouting supervisor. Now, look inside a dark hollow tree. 40,000 workers are building a geometrically perfect megacity in absolute pitch blackness. No meetings, no blueprints. Watch this video to the end, because the secret behind this architectural miracle will force us to question the very nature of human intelligence. They build empires in complete silence. When a honeybee builds, material is precious. The wax itself is not gathered from the outside world. It is secreted from special glands on the underside of their abdomens. They scrape these tiny wax scales off their own bodies, chew them to make them pliable, and then begin to build. To produce just 1 ounce of wax, a colony must consume roughly 8 ounces of honey. With resources that biologically expensive, efficiency is a matter of absolute survival. Why not build circles? Circles leave empty, wasted gaps between the walls. Why not triangles or squares? While they share walls, the physics of those shapes are flawed for this purpose. The sharp 90-degree or 60-degree corners create intense stress concentrations. Under the immense weight of stored honey, those sharp corners would crack and the walls would collapse. So they build hexagons. The hexagon is nature's ultimate mathematical hack. Its 120-degree angles distribute weight perfectly, acting like a continuous structural arch. It holds the maximum amount of honey while using the absolute minimum amount of wax. Every individual cell shares its walls with the surrounding cells, creating a structure so incredibly strong that modern aerospace engineers still copy it for spacecraft components. We optimize structures with supercomputers, while they achieve structural perfection through pure instinct. But how do they measure anything in total darkness? They do not have rulers or lasers. Instead, they use their own bodies. When construction begins, bees grab onto each other's legs, forming living chains called festoons. They hang in the darkness like a biological curtain. These chains act as living scaffolding and organic measuring tapes, pulling and testing the tension of the wax. The workers use their own antennae as tiny calipers, measuring the thickness of the walls to a fraction of a millimeter. More importantly, these festoons act as a flesh heater. To manipulate wax, the environment must be warm. How do they generate that heat? A honeybee can physically unhook its wings from its flight muscles. This allows them to shiver their powerful chest muscles rapidly without moving their wings, functioning exactly like an internal combustion engine revving in neutral. By shivering together in these chains, they generate and maintain a temperature of around 95 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the precise temperature required to make the beeswax soft and moldable, but not so hot that it melts away. They transform their collective bodies into a living, breathing factory. No fossil fuel, no thermostat, just 40,000 bodies shivering in perfect synchrony. Here is the most unsettling part for any human manager to hear. There is no architect bee hovering around with a clipboard. Even the queen bee is entirely powerless in this process. She does not give orders. She does not make decisions about the hive's architecture. She is essentially a captive of her own reproductive organs, existing only to lay eggs. So how do 40,000 illiterate insects coordinate a monumental construction project? The answer is a phenomenon called Stigmergy. They do not communicate by talking. They communicate through the environment itself. When one bee lays down a drop of wax, the physical shape of that wax becomes the instruction for the entire colony. For example, imagine a tree branch is pushing into the hive space. The colony does not hold a meeting to redesign the comb. The first bee that encounters the branch simply lays down wax following the curve of the wood. The next bee feels that curve and builds the next cell slightly angled. Within hours, the entire geometry of the hive shifts fluidly around the obstacle. If a wall is slightly too thin, the next worker thickens it. If a cell is tilting, the next worker corrects the angle. The work itself is the boss. The environment is the blueprint. Every worker acts independently, yet perfectly in sync with the collective goal. No emails, no weekly updates. The physical world is their only language. Compare that to us. We invented organizational charts, complex software, and endless layers of middle management. We created an entire culture of people whose only job is to tell other people how to do their job. We think this top-down control makes us the smartest species on Earth. We believe intelligence requires a loud, central command. But the truth is, we are just a species that cannot figure out how to work together without someone standing at the top shouting orders. Bees figured out true collaboration millions of years ago. To a honeybee, a manager is just a parasite that does not produce honey. They understand that leadership is not about shouting the loudest. It is about knowing exactly what the structure needs at any given moment and simply doing it. We demand authority to create order while they achieve absolute harmony free of any leader. This forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth about human nature. Perhaps our obsession with control is not a sign of high intelligence, but a symptom of our profound disconnection from each other. A honeybee colony does not think as 40,000 individuals fighting for a promotion. It thinks as one vast, distributed mind. Every individual bee is a temporary, replaceable part, yet the hive itself is practically immortal. It is a reminder that true intelligence is not about who is in charge. It is about how deeply we are connected to the environment and to each other. When we look at a beehive, we are not just looking at a home made of wax. We are looking at a flawless biological network that operates purely on empathy, instinct, and total surrender to the collective well-being. We construct towering monuments to human ego, mostly to prove how important we are to the world. We build monuments to outlast time, while they build life without leaving a scar on the earth. If tomorrow every corporation fired all its managers, could humanity build anything at all? Tell us in the comments. What should we explain next? The terrifying intelligence of crows, or the secret language of trees? Let us know below, and do not forget to subscribe and share this video with the most micromanaging boss in the world. We will see you next time.